I'm seeking the pearls of wisdom for my mind, down in the corals of the deep blue sea. I was born in 1962 in a place called Bull Hill, which is in Darwin, which is a separate town from Blackburn, but it's next door to it. So I had a fantastic view at the time as a kid, because we lived 12, 13 floors up. I didn't have a mother. My dad was a raging alcoholic, a drunkard. He used to sing off top at Cathedral in Blackburn. He used to tie himself to the cross in March. Oh, it was a fucking nightmare. So emotionally and psychologically, I was probably pretty damaged. From about 11 to 16 or so, I kind of got into a bit of trouble with police. But it weren't me that were getting into trouble. I was getting into trouble because of other people. In all of that, I always had like guardian angels around me. My grandma was the key. She was the one who raised me. Pretty much led my own life, did my own thing, did it my own way, because there was not really much structure there apart from football. Was a big thing. And I always remember lying at the back of a settee, crying my eyes out at this overwhelming feeling I'd got for Rovers. And when I looked at it years later and realised it was like it was the family I never had. This was my family. So my early life was filled with chaos, noise, disruption, insecurity. So football, because it was a static thing that made you feel good, it was a really, really important aspect for me. But punk came along, and before I know it, I'm going to Manchester Apollo, and when I seen The Clash at 16, 17, never seen anything like that. The impact on me from all four of them on that stage, they were just perfect. They had the music, they had the energy, they had the looks, they had the clothes. It was the thing that just made me fall into playing music. It just changed my whole life, just like football did. And it gave me something to get my teeth into. After the initial wave of punk rock, I kind of set my own agenda and I started going out auditioning for bands, learning to play guitar because I've been playing bass. Then I got a gig with a band called Attack when I was about 21, which was absolutely overwhelming and mind-blowing for me. Before I knew it, it had split up, but I'd had an amazing experience going into a studio on a 10cc home. I didn't know at the time, but I realised years later, I knew I were in a place that somebody who'd come from a disruptive family or on the verge of maybe could have gone the other way, to having all these little elements of success in my life, like playing on Ewood Park as a kid, and then suddenly being in this studio that was like everything that you were opposed to, really. So this is what drove me. When the Attack thing finished, I was already on another plane. I was all looking for more gigs, and music had become the absolute focal point in my life. Nothing else mattered. And I wouldn't give my music up for anything, because music never hurt me, but people did. Music was like a freedom, a living, breathing entity. I began to understand that music and what could come from that, to even have that opportunity from where I'd come from, is revealing. Three Men started because I was auditioning after Attack, and I met Kev, and we started rehearsing in my house. And we just advertised for a singer. We rehearsed down in town in the shop. By this point, Duncan's involved, Craig's involved, and then we get rehearsing, and we just developed sound. We've always been called Three Men Gone Mad. There's always probably four people, but in the main, it was me, Stuart, and Duncan. By this point, punk has sort of gone. Three Men have morphed into the influence that I always said was the power of the Clash, the depth of Joy Division, and the rhythm of Talking Heads. We were a sub-pop band. Because we were unrecognised as a band, you never knew what you were going to be received like. But we played Liverpool and Manchester, we played London. So the high that you get, it takes days to come down from that. You're pinned against the ceiling. You just imagine it's the best sex you've ever had. plus more. Things were building up. Our core manager, Norman, said, I will finance a single for you. So we ended up going into Shamrock Studio. It was basically an house. We were in there nearly a month, writing You Try. It was just an absolutely wonderful, perfect time. The record was a 2-track, one-sided, 12-inch single, which was a total rarity. It got us lots and lots of interest. We were getting some good reviews, radio play, people phoning up about deals, but the one that really was the key was Granada Studios had picked it up and they said, we're going to put Three Men Gone Mad on television for Christmas. In all of that, our lives are falling apart. The fucking band's falling apart. Yeah, we're having a lot of problems, but we were still making good music. We'd made this song called Maelstrom. We were like bouncing through these boundaries that we were limited by, but we were breaking through. So this Maelstrom, it turns out it's our epitaph. It's the song that finally killed us, but it was a song that would have taken us beyond where I'm speaking to you today. But all the time as this is going on, your relationships are suffering, you're not living anywhere, you're not eating, you're not working, you're not hardly got any money. So all those emotions, fantastic feelings, were suddenly replaced with the absolute opposite. The thing that triggered it for me was Nobby got a phone call from the studio saying that Three Men Gone Mad had been pulled out of doing this gig on TV. There was sort of dark forces at work that decided to peddle untruths and lies about the band, tell the organisations that we're heroin addicts when we're nothing of the sort. So this is a massive effect on your mental health. To have like people of influence writing about you, and John Peel, who's an absolute legend for breaking new music, to then be told that we're no longer putting you on television, to John Peel stopping playing your record, to Penny Anderson stopping writing about you. You've got these like clash of emotions going on, where you're high one minute, down the next minute. But the simple fact of the matter is that everything that could collide at that time did, and totally finished us off. I mean, I lost a good 10, 15 years of my life after the band broke because I wouldn't do anything else that would sacrifice me having any chance of going back into playing music and picking up where I'd left off. You know, I wasn't going to play music, I couldn't touch a guitar. I was screaming fit, I was on my fucking bike every day. I was trekking in Nepal, I was going to India, but there was always something missing. There's no more Three Men Gone Mad. You've got to accept and acknowledge that this path that you've been going down, you can't go down it anymore because it's just too destructive for you. And, you know, there's a lot of anger in me because all this talent that I've got, it's just been fucking washed down the fucking pan, you know, and it's heartbreaking because it puts you into mind that know your fucking place in society. This is what it is. There's be minimal people get through, like me, who become successful in music. Beyond that, you've got to have contact, you've got to have money, you've got to come from the right place, you've got to live in fucking Surrey. Music's been the most beautiful thing in my life. It's the thing that saved my life, but it's been the most sort of like cruel thing as well. Music is not the central of my life anymore. It's that what I carry now. The knowledge as I go into your later years is the things that will be the cradle for me. It will be something that will live with me for the rest of my life. But as much as things are ugly, you know, things have been really, really beautiful. My only real ambition now is to travel. I want to be in mountains. When you're in the mountains with somebody, you don't know them, but you're in the same place at the same time, and all you've got above you is the sky. Then it's an amazing feeling to know that you've got so much in common. Well, it's the same with music. When you make a piece of music, somebody likes it, then you've connected, haven't you?